Hello Seekers, welcome to Vedic Astrology, your one-stop astro channel. Continuing with the series of First Lord in different houses, we will discuss in this video what happens when the First Lord sits in the 9th house. 9th house is the house of Dharma, spirituality, travel, father, guru and many more. So what happens when the First Lord, which is you, yourself, your identity, places itself in the 9th house, the house of destiny? We will discuss it in detail in this video. But before that, do not forget to hit like, subscribe and share and hit the bell icon so that you never miss another update. You can follow me on my other social media, especially Instagram and Facebook, where I will upload a lot of other videos, short videos with crisp knowledge of Vedic astrology. Do follow me on that platforms, and if you can also follow me on Twitter for latest tweets. If you want to take consultation, you can drop me an email. The email and other social media links are given in the description box below. So let's continue with the First Lord in the 9th house. First Lord is your ascendant, First Lord is you, he is the rising sign, he is the ruler of your horoscope. I have already discussed about the First Lord in the other videos. First Lord is basically something that defines you, especially the physical characteristics, who you are, who you will be, how all planets are related has to be seen with the First Lord. So First Lord is basically a summary of your identity. What happens when this Lord places itself in the 9th house? 9th house is the house naturally ruled by the sign Sagittarius. The ruler of that house is Jupiter. 9th house is basically the house of destiny, fortune, fate. It is also the house of Guru. That means really the life's mentor, who will be your teacher, mentor, who will be the guide. 9th house is also the house of traveling, because actually 9th house is the house of seeking. Somebody, if you have to seek something, you want to seek knowledge, you want to seek wisdom, you will have to travel, you will have to meet a lot of people, you will have to outgrow yourself, you will have to go at different places, take lengthy travels. So that's why in reality 9th house is the house of seeking and journey for self-realization, but indirectly it also indicates long distance journey for other purpose. For example, it also shows whether you will go to foreign country for education. You are in North India and you're going into a college of South India for doing your bachelor's in technology. You are in US and you're going to London for an office project where you have to learn something. You are going in an induction program, for example. All these things are seen from the 9th house. Also, 9th house is also the father, but as a guru. It's not his father as a physical person, because that's 10th house. But 9th house is more father as a guru, because the first male person who is your teacher is your father. So those areas are seen, and depending upon whether it is positive or negative, we define those areas of your life being positive or negative respectively. But when your First Lord goes into the 9th house, that means you have a personal connection with that particular house. In a way, you will believe that you are the master of your destiny, you control your life. You will believe that your destiny is in your hands and you can change it, first of all, because it's a fire sign. Naturally, Sagittarius is a fire sign. Sagittarius is represented by a horse figure with a human body with an arrow aiming for something. So imagine a horse who can run so fast, can aim. Imagine the level of confidence. So the confidence is very high in the sign of Sagittarius. So you will have a very strong willpower, strong confidence, because remember, if First Lord sits in the 9th house, irrespective of what the planet is, it will aspect the 3rd house, because 3rd is directly in front of the 9th house. So what happens with the 3rd house? Your courage is directly being observed. So you will believe in yourself. Now, whether this belief is imaginary, whether the belief is impractical or practical, will depend upon the position of planet. But the belief system develops and you become the center of that belief system. And you will want to defend that. Suppose you have Sun in the 9th house, you have Mars in the 9th house. You would want to defend that position. You would want to defend your belief system. And if a planet becomes weaker in the ninth house, you will have trouble with your father. Your father will not be present as a mentor. You will have trouble believing on things, trusting people. You will always be questioned, and your belief system will change time and again. So when your belief system changes, your identity changes. So your identity is actually destined for a certain purpose, and that purpose, if changes continuously, your also identity changes. For example, if somebody is an actor and tomorrow that person decides to fly a plane and become a pilot, the identity changes because he has learned something new. But with every identity change, with every change coming from the ninth house, you will have to learn something. Without learning, because ninth house is the house of philosophical thinking, higher order thinking, that learning has to come. So it's vice versa. When a learning happens through ninth house, your identity will change because you are actually sitting at the ninth house. And if anything changes in your life, will give you learning about it. So that's how you have to go. If anything happens in your life, if somebody questions, if you are defending and it's backfiring, you have to question your learning. Do you need to unlearn? Do you need to relearn a lot of things? Now, a lot of these predictions or factors are very generic and will depend on multiple factors like the nakshatra, the placement, the degree, dasha, mahadasha, a lot of factors. And the most important factor on which this placement will depend is the placement of the ninth lord. Because when first lord goes into the ninth house, it's kind of a Rajyog because the trine lord goes into the trine. But if the ninth lord sits in 6 at 12, then it becomes a problem. Then there can be disputes, even you try hard. The more you try, the more dispute it will create. So because the ninth lord, if it goes into the 8th house, it becomes highly occult. Then unless you follow that particular branch of life, troubles will come from the other branches. So this is something that you have to carefully observe while you are reading about the first lord in the ninth house. Also, when the first lord goes into the ninth house, you would also want to become a guru. So you will teach a lot, you will preach a lot depending upon because third house is the house of expression. So when you are in the ninth house, you are watching the house of expression, the third house. So you would want to say, I have to speak out, I have to say that, I have to speak up for the people, I have to speak up for the mass. And that is something that can be positive or that can backfire if you are speaking the nonsense. Also, third house is the social media, so you would always be very proactive depending upon the kind of planet you have in social media. But then you have to be very sure what you are writing, what you are typing, what you are spreading message, because your message will be heard by a lot of people. And your message can change your destiny or somebody else's destiny. So you have an inherent responsibility, and that responsibility has to be fulfilled with full awareness and consciousness. So you have to go in a very dharmic way. Now, there is a very natural term that is used, is called dharma in the ninth house. What is dharma? Dharma means duty, the right path. It's not religion, but it's dharma. There is no house of religion in astrology. If you see, there is no word called religion in Vedic sciences. It's dharma. What is dharma? Dharma means something that is related to your karma, something that is your responsibility, something that you are supposed to do. It can be anything. A child is supposed to take care of the parents, it's the dharma. It's called putra dharma, the dharma or the duty of the child. So when the first lord goes into the ninth house, automatically you are assigned a lot of duties, and you will automatically assign duties to yourself. You have to understand the duties that you assign to yourself or to others has to be proper. If there are malefic effects on this house, the duty that you will take will be bad. So you will have the responsibility to destroy somebody. According to you, that is your responsibility. According to you, revenge is the responsibility. Now that's not going to be the case, because ninth house automatically is called as the most auspicious house. The moment things go haywire in that house, even if you try, later on the result will be very intense, because if you see the Kalpurush, immediately after ninth house you land up in the domain of Saturn. And Saturn is called karma phal. That means the result and the fruits of the karma will be given to you in a very, very harsh way. So when you are dealing with first lord and the ninth house energy, you have to be very, very careful that you follow the dharma that has been assigned to you. So you have a task, you have a duty to understand your horoscope in whatever way you can. You can understand your life, understand your horoscope. If you are too young on this case, if you are watching this video and you are like less than 20-25 years of age, then you will have to study about the dharma. It's a time not to execute the dharma, but to learn what a dharma is. So right now you have to identify what you are here for. And if you have already lived a certain amount of age, then you already have that experience, you already know what the dharma is. Now, one of the most difficult position is if Saturn is placed in the 9th house, because then Saturn gets confused. He is in a dharma sankat. He wants to give, but the third aspect falls in the 8th house, then it becomes a trouble. So, when you have Saturn in the house of dharma, this means that you will have to work hard for the right path. You will work for and fight for justice. But if say for example, if you have Mars in the 9th house, that you will fight for your own right. You would fight for the defense. You would want to defend your belief system. So when first lord is in the 9th house, the belief system becomes the most important driving factor in your case. Be very, very sure what are you believing, and be ready to question not only yourself but also the belief system, and be ready to change, make or break a new belief system. If you're fine, if you're correct, that's okay. But you have to be very sure, because Saturn is waiting to give the result of the 9th house, because Capricorn is 10th, second from the 9th house. When you have first lord in 9th house, mostly if it is Jupiter, your first house will be aspected. For the other planets which do not have more than one aspect, the third house will be aspected. And if it is Saturn, it will be 11th house that will be aspected. So you see that in case of Saturn, Mars, they aspect the 11th and the 12th house, but Jupiter specifically in the 9th house performs really great. Then you become a teacher, then you become a mentor, then you would want to spread the word, then you would want to tell a lot of people what you know. Then again, self-analysis is needed. Maybe you don't know anything, maybe you think you know, but you are trying to spread that information. So you have to be very sure, and that means you have to learn. So 9th house is mostly about being a good student before being a good guru. And that is the beauty, because that's why it's called temple, the divine house, the divine blessing, because then you can only conquer the 9th house by being humble. Now remember, if a person is going from the 7th house to the 9th house, from a kama bhava to the dharma bhav, he has to take the dip of the Scorpio. That means he has to completely transform himself, completely, from an absolutely material domain of Venus to the absolutely dharmic or the divine domain of Jupiter. And in between you have the fiery and the suffocating and the transforming zodiac of Scorpio. So one who has already completed a transformation will automatically be full of gratitude, will have no ego, and will automatically believe in surrender and devotion. And that is the exact property of the 9th house. So guys, this was a brief analysis of the first lord in 9th house. And if you have this, definitely you should respect the father and respect father figure, respect your gurus, and this will help you steer the bad times in your life. I hope you like this video. Let's meet in the next video with first lord in the 10th house in this series. Lot more videos coming soon. Stay tuned to the channel Punneit's Astrology, and do not forget to hit like, subscribe and share, but hit the bell icon, because that gives you the notifications when I upload a video. That keeps you and me stay connected. So guys, to connect, subscribe. Let's meet in the next video. Till then, namaste.